Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. This is going to be a little bit different than what I have been saying. So basically the NaDa games that you've been watching up till now, I recorded those 6 games about 1 week ago. And NaDa was 2350. 1 week later, as of yesterday, NaDa is now 2500. That's ridiculous. That's about the most NaDa thing I've ever heard of. The guy has still played so few games. He has like, let's see, I'm actually looking right now. He has like 230 games or so on his 2 ladder accounts. And that's it. And now he has reached 2500. He did it on stream. Seemed like he was pretty happy about that. So how did he make a jump in 1 week from 2350 to 2500? Well, I went through his ladder account, and a lot of it is Terran versus Zerg wins, but obviously he's had to have leveled up in every matchup. So what I thought was, instead of, I was going to take a look at a Terran versus Terran, but what instead I want to do is I just pulled out the most recent game in each matchup. So we're going to do 3 more NaDa games here to just see, okay, what has NaDa changed? What looks different here that allowed him to increase 150 MMR in the course of a week? So we're here on Metropolis. It's NaDa here in the top left, and he's playing against a barcode Protoss who's cross-spawn scouting without going Nexus first, so that's interesting. This barcode Protoss is like 2350 or so on the ladder, and also has E rank accounts of 1300. So he's tanked MMR on 3 different accounts, down about 1000 from where he normally is. So not necessarily a very good person, but obviously a pretty high MMR Protoss. Now, he immediately scouts NaDa here, and NaDa actually somehow, some way is going cross-spawn scout as well. It's funny watching something like this grow in popularity. We saw NaDa do this as well in a TVZ. By the way, as soon as I tried that on the ladder, I got rushed from an angle that my SCV didn't cover. Fun. But it's really interesting to see this type of change in the metagame where it's like, yeah, well, cross-spawn, you're going to play a little bit differently. Like, let's say if NaDa wanted to do a 2-fact here, if you scout cross-spawn and see that he's there, it's like, well, the 2-fact is suddenly way weaker. It's normally like about 10-ish seconds more to go cross-map than close spawn. That's a huge difference when rushing. Like a huge difference. So, maybe this just makes NaDa go into a fast expansion here. So while we kind of wait to see what these strats are going to turn into, I do want to thank you guys for tuning into ArtosisCasts. I'm glad that you've been enjoying the NaDa games. I think he's looked pretty good so far. I'm really interested, again, to see what he's going to look like as far as his 3 most recent games, one against each race, and to see, like, okay, is there noticeable improvement? Did he just happen to get the right opponents? You never really know why you're going to hit a peak MMR. It could be any number of things. You just luckily get the right strats. There's like, everyone's a range of MMR. Now, Vulture comes out with these 3 Marines, so this is going to be enough to push us back. And yeah, the probe coming up, like 1 Dragoon against 3 Marines with no range. The Marines win that. But when you bring the probe, the Protoss wins it pretty handily. But you bring out the Vulture, and the Terran wins it pretty handily. It's, one of these beautiful things of StarCraft where just one unit shifts it back and forth, and this is like how much you can get at the same time. It's wild. So anyways, he has lost another Marine here. He's going to run away with this Vulture and try to scout. He is getting a great SCV scout here, and a Robo gets started. I don't believe he saw that Robo, actually. But he'll probably go back down. Oh, a little bit of a misplay there, I think. So maybe didn't see that Robo. Oh, in the meantime, he actually has 2 Dragoons running by. So a very annoying situation here. You have to pull SCVs to actually fight at this point. And pretty good control there from NaDa. Gets right up around one of these Dragoons. The other one is going to be a little bit harder. Luckily for him, the other Dragoon did stay at home because it was chasing that SCV. So that's why NaDa was losing that SCV at that point. I love this move from the barcode. going behind the minerals there makes it almost impossible to follow with SCVs. But NaDa made a tank very quickly, and so that goon will die too. So at the end of the day, like, generally you'd look at that and say that's bad for Protoss. But, you know, it did slow Terran down a little bit at least. It killed some extra Marines, forced an extra Marine, and that type of thing. You know, some lost mining time and everything too. Now, shuttle on the way. Second factory coming up for NaDa after 2 tanks. It's kind of interesting. Now, generally, if you're looking for like a 2-fact timing, you try to get it started during the first tank. Tanks take 32 seconds, and the factory takes 50 seconds. So, like, for instance, one of the most popular move outs is a 3-tank move out. If you start the 3rd tank, then start the factory, it's like, okay, so you're going to be across the map before you even have a unit popping out of this. So it's like, does the 2nd factory actually help at that point? But he's making those 4 tanks, and we did talk about this a little bit. In fact, I think it was one of my thumbnails, where he's been doing 4 tank pushes, which is kind of interesting. It's just like not the meta for anyone else. So it does look like he's going to be going for a 4 siege tank push. Gets that 2nd add-on right away, which we have been seeing from him. Gets that speed started. So continuing that pretty aggressive play. Very cool to see. Has been making these Marines nonstop as well. It's actually quite a few Marines. And this pressure he's going to bring out, like... Okay, so it's 1 gate Robo with Reaver, 3rd base. I do think that this favors NaDa slightly here. It does come down somewhat to the Scarabs. But, like, realistically, you should go for 2 gates before you make that 3rd base. Like, 2 gate plus Reaver is pretty invincible. Like, it pretty much holds everything. Here, he's just going to be a little bit low on units. So as long as, like, 1 Scarab doesn't completely decimate these Marines, I would imagine that NaDa should be able to push through and get some damage here. Now, the Reaver, oh my god, he's actually counterattacking with the Reaver. Does he turn around? Because NaDa will roll through. 1 Reaver can do a lot of damage, but NaDa will literally roll through everything he has. Not even close. A 4-tank push with this many Marines, no splash damage to help out. He just started his 2nd Reaver. Yeah, see, it turns around with it. He knows that he'll just die, whereas, yeah, he'll get some damage done, but won't be that good. So clears that super, super fast. 1 tank has fallen. Some good targeting. Okay, actually gets a good Scarab off there as well. Really excellent Scarab there. And the Vultures are in the main base. So this is looking very, very bad for our Protoss player. Kind of interesting that this is the most recent Terran versus Protoss game, right? What I want to say about this is what we're seeing is NaDa is hitting a slightly off meta push, and we saw this type of play from him before, and we saw also when he went into a more standard macro game, he definitely had a harder time, but he's hitting a slight off meta push. Like the 4 siege tank, and like the Reaver was very late turning around. Like he kind of missed it. NaDa kind of went through like this, and the shuttle kind of went like this, and until it hit, he didn't turn the shuttle around. The shuttle was like here, and that's worst case, literally worst case scenario for Protoss. And like the build NaDa did pretty much counters what we saw from Protoss here. So yeah, I want to make that really clear. Like I love NaDa's play. I'm really enjoying watching this. I'm definitely learning a few things here and there, but like this, it's not super stable, solid play. You know, if we were to watch like a light or a NaDa game, I'd be like showing you 12 different places where he shut down everything Protoss did. Whereas this is more of a catch, right? He like caught Protoss being greedy. He caught Protoss not maybe figuring out where he was on the map. And NaDa is definitely like really far ahead here. He's going up into the 5 factories, just continually producing those siege tanks, getting his +1. And I think, you know, if you look at the missile turrets, like he is serious about the missile turrets. Look, 4 there, 2 here, none back here. I wonder, I think he will make a couple Goliaths when his factories finish. But that's like him just saying, okay, no Reavers are getting in. I'm making units non-stop here. And I think he'll just push. He does add that 6 factory a little bit late, which I'm never a fan of. Like, normally your push outs, if you start the 6 factory after 5 are done, this contributes almost no units to the initial push, which is where the game is oftentimes decided. Whereas, you know, in a reinforcing game, obviously it can and does make some sort of difference, but yeah, not a huge fan of that. Siege mode, not yet gotten. That's so funny. He dealt enough damage to even need siege mode yet. Goons and Reaver sitting just outside. The Protoss is trying to make the probes back up. A little scan from NaDa does show that 3rd base location. Vulture just kind of running around right now. Ooh, taking a little bit of damage on that shuttle. It's got to be careful about that. Might go ahead and try to blow up the missile turret, but NaDa sieges tanks right near it, so he's got... Oh, my God. Seriously, everything going wrong for this Protoss. Stargate on the way. Ugh. This seems like the worst idea. Like, this is... I think here, because NaDa's going like 5-6 fact, like, your only real chance here is to go like 8 gate. And I know his economy's a little bit hurt, but you can go 8 gate in this type of situation, then just bust the push and then do something like Stargates. Trying to go Stargates now when your opponent is going to set up an attack for you. Like, your opponent is planning on moving out and trying to get damage. Oh, God, he's going to lose every probe. The Stargates are just not likely to work. It's like building towards what NaDa wants. You know, the carriers are the only real transition that Protoss has. You know, the transition being like this weak point. It's like the elbow of your strategy where you're taking a turn, you're spending a bunch of money that doesn't give you a payoff right away. All the other Protoss tech routes are not really like that. I mean, I guess you can identify like, oh yeah, there's these 30 seconds where, you know, there's no DT yet or something like that. But I think you get my meaning, right? So, like, the carriers are the only thing that really opens up a timing. Now, the tanks are coming down, getting into an amazing position right away. You know, that is a lot of Dragoons. He's trying very hard to actually get this spread correct. He drops that first Reaver. Yeah, the Reavers don't even get Scarabs off, and the Dragoon's just getting absolutely plastered. He starts some carriers, but, like, he has to be so lucky with this. And the thing is, NaDa has scans. Like, if NaDa's like, where are your units? He'll scan, and then he'll just start making, turrets or rallying in more Goliaths, that type of thing. So... yeah, this looks like it's just going to be a one-sided walkthrough. And, I mean, the amount of money he's putting into these carriers that are not going to make a difference in this game, that was, like, so optimistic. I mean, I guess if NaDa just takes a third and sits still, then the carrier play will be good in that situation, but why would you assume that that's going to occur? I just don't know. Now, the tanks come in. Yeah, he's killing off. He's going to get this goon. He's going to kill every probe. I think we're just going to see GG. Trying to clear what he can. Trying to buy time. Yeah. Well, he's showing some respect and saying GG. So... That's going to be that. I got to say, looking at this game, like, NaDa played well. I don't want to take away from him. I don't want to lessen the fact that the guy got 2,500. But he is basically, he caught him with the build when this was super greedy, you know, 1-gate Reaver third. And he had already thrown away multiple goons, right? He had already thrown away 2 goons over here and not really gotten good counter damage with it. It wasn't like a total wasted bad move. If this guy had gone for 2-gate Reaver, I think he would have been completely fine against the 4-tank push. But NaDa catches him with a slightly stronger push than anyone's really used to, because no one really uses 4-tank pushes. And then follows up, gets vultures in multiple times, and his opponent's going carrier against like a 5 or 6 fact play. So it's just kind of like, every single thing went right for NaDa and every single thing went wrong for Protoss. Which is the way it should be. But yeah, I feel like this doesn't tell us like a super lot, but honestly, NaDa does not have a ton of TVPs, most of the games that he's been playing, to get to 2500 RTVZ, which we'll be checking out next. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.